Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, with news of a substantial rise in risk aversion. But first, a new report from the Asian Development Bank says that softer growth prospects for China and India and a slow recovery in the major industrial economies will combine to push growth in developing Asia for 2015 and 16 below previous predictions. The revisions are not major, but they do change the outlook from one where growth is accelerating to one where growth is contracting. The neighbourhood is in the early stage of catching a cold, it seems. ADB downgrade comes after last week's OECD downgrade. In Europe, the fallout from car maker VW's fraud on diesel emissions is extending and their reputation is being polluted. And it goes some way to explaining why the air in US cities is so much cleaner than those in Europe. The claim by most European car makers that new diesel engines are cleaner than petrol has been exposed as a giant lie. So far, 11 million cars are affected, and it is just by VW. Most other European manufacturers of diesel cars are also expected to be caught out, so the total may balloon to a much larger number. VW's claim that it doesn't affect New Zealand is just not credible. The scandal is affecting money markets. Overnight, there's been a 7% jump in the cost of credit spreads for European investment-grade bonds at a time when the rest of the world's CDS spreads went up by less than 1%. Markets rely on trust and honesty, and the breaking of that by giants like VW, and earlier by banks, costs everyone. In China, all eyes are on the president's official state visit to the USA. Americans, however, only taking a passing interest. In Australia, MasterCard has been outed as running a phony consumer campaign to push back on the RBA's drive to reduce interchange fees. It's one thing to argue for the interests of your business, it's another to fund front groups to do it for you, a consumer group there says. In New York, the US Treasury 10-year yield benchmark could not hold the gains it made yesterday and is now back to 2.13%. Equity markets opened low and not recovered as the trading session comes to an end. The US benchmark oil price is unchanged today, now at $46 a barrel, and the Brent benchmark is at $49 a barrel. But observers are expecting prices to soften, maybe when the official weekly assessment of US markets are released later today. The gold price is lower as well, now down to $1,123 an ounce, and the New Zealand dollar starts today lower against the greenback, but holding against most others. It's now at 62.9 US cents, 88.9 Aussie cents, 56.6 Euro cents. The TWI is at 67.6. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.